Welcome back to the crypt. This video is going to be a lot because I not only am having a June setup, which I am very excited about, but also I'm going to be migrating. So we're going to do a little bit of migration first with life updates and stuff. If you're not interested in that, which is totally okay, you just want to see June being done, I'll leave timestamps down below so you can skip forward. But first up, we got to get this to this. So it's going to be a lot. I'll go through some life updates, like what's been going on, what I've been doing, some changes that I'm excited about, how May went, that kind of thing. So if you're curious about that and want to see the migration, keep watching. For the rest of you, links down below. And with that said, it's time to get going. Okay, so while I go ahead and set up doing some transferring and migration, I'm gonna go ahead and speak about a couple like updates, how I think May went. It's really crazy that I'm already done with a bullet journal. I'm really happy with how much I got done. And overall, I'm really happy with May. I think it went rather well. It was very top heavy kind of month because I did so much that first week, Golden Week, with the Mel event, which I'm very happy about. Got a large part of my book done. I'll have a bigger video next week about looking over the event and just how useful it is versus cons of the event and if I want to change anything next time. So please check that out if you're interested in how I feel overall, whether or not it was worth it. But overall, I'm pretty pleased. Now, another thing that happened in the month of May was I actually got back into my Japanese studying, which I'm very, very excited about. I study once a week now with one of my coworkers, which is really nice. And I've noticed since I started doing that regularly, I actually am more prone to open apps to study throughout the week as well. So I think just having that regular study buddy really did just click into my brain that it's time to study in general. So that's good. It does mean I'm a little busy. So the next coming month, June, is going to be really interesting, because I'm going to be loading up even further a little bit during the week. I have never had a really great routine during the week of writing, but during the next month, Haley and I will be doing live streaming every Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to that, but it will start on her channel, by the way. So by the time next week comes up, it should be on her channel to start out with. We might be switching channels back and forth, but we're not positive. It's still in discussion. But for now, we're going to start out on Haley's channel. I'm looking forward to it because it means I'll be able to get a little bit of progress done at least once a week. But I've never tried something like this, so it'll be a bit of a trial. My weeks are a bit loaded with the study session being on Wednesdays for me and these live events going to be on Thursday mornings before I have a meeting with my therapist and then work. So Thursdays for me are going to be a little rough, but I'm curious to see how well I do overall. And I do think it will be a good experience. And this is the basic layout for the migration pages, the beginning of the journal. I'm pretty pleased overall with how it turned out. It's a little less polished than I would like, but overall I still like it. Just covering up some critical info there. And that's that. So let's go ahead and get into the main month, June. Okay, so I made so many errors when I did this particular spread, which was interesting considering that the topic is also kind of hard for me. So initially I wasn't going to be doing anything for like a pride theme, simply because it's done so much oftentimes at this month, and I just feel like it's overdone more often than not, especially with how vibrant a lot of rainbows are, and that's not quite my vibe. But I decided I could go ahead and do kind of pastel-y, rainbow-ish colors within bubbles. I like the idea of bubble tea, but actual bubbles instead of like boba. So I decided to go ahead and do that and talk a little bit about my conflicting feelings with pride in and of itself. Just simply because I feel like this does somewhat affect my writing in general and just my life, obviously. I've always had a very complicated feeling towards the community, which technically I'm a part of. I'm talking as if I'm not a part of it, but I am technically. I am asexual, and I found that out after college. So prior, I never knew asexuality exists, even when I was in college. A lot of the LGBTQ plus groups on campus, they had these posters around campus for the group, but the A was never asexual, not ever. A always, according to the posters, stood for ally, which looking back is ridiculous because an ally is not actually part of the group. You just support the group, but you're not actually a part of it. But back then I was younger and I didn't really question it. So I just, I didn't feel like I fit anywhere else. I knew there was something different about me, but I couldn't pinpoint what. So mostly I just thought I was broken and messed up because I didn't have the same emotions or experiences most people my age had. It was one thing when I was like 13, 14, and I wasn't all that into the idea of devil's tango, it just wasn't appealing to me at all, but I was like 13, so it's fine. Also, I colored in that pot, big mistake. That was my first mistake out of many. I wasn't into those things, but I was young. But then I got older and older and older, and I still had no desire for, intimate relationships. It just wasn't my thing ever. And I learned I can kind of fake it, make lots of very inappropriate jokes. I still like making inappropriate jokes because I find a lot of that stuff funny. I can't take it seriously more often than not. So yeah, that was my experience. And for most of my life, even up through graduation in college, I believed I was just a freak of nature. It wasn't until after I had graduated and I was on a writing forum somewhere and I saw a huge list of different sexualities and genders, and at the very bottom was asexual. And I had never seen that outside of biology. And so I went ahead and looked up more information, and it was creepy because it was like someone had crawled inside my head and written out everything that was inside for the whole world to see. It was terrifying at first, honestly, because it was so eerie. But then came the relief because it was like, oh, well, there are more people like me. We're very rare, but we exist. And that was really nice. Then my next mistake happened. I went ahead and came out online completely not knowing that apparently the ace discourse was happening at the same time. Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. So big mistake. I came out to some people online which were the wrong group. They were the group that believed that ace people weren't real. And I got bullied very relentlessly by people with pride flags in their bios. So I closed up again. I went back in the closet as far as my online presence went. Even to this day, you'll notice my bios don't have pride flags, things like that. I have very complicated feelings towards pride and the group in general. I just didn't feel welcome or safe. So I pulled back, and it's lonely. For most of my life, I didn't feel like I was accepted by the LGBTQ plus community, and I didn't feel accepted by straight people either. So I just kind of was on my own. My feelings towards relationships in general have just been something that I've kind of kept to myself primarily. It's only more recently on my channel here on YouTube that I've actually told you guys a little bit. I've mentioned it once or twice in my reviews because I feel like it does color how I see relationships in books. So I feel like I have to disclose it to an extent. But yeah, I have a complicated feeling towards the group. I always support those groups, obviously, but I don't feel like I'm a part of it. Even though technically I am, I don't feel like I am. So I've always had very complex feelings on the whole thing. And I just feel distanced. So I'm not sure if I call this a pride theme. I feel like it's got ghosts of pride in it, which is as close as I ever feel to the group. I feel like a ghost on the outskirts. And over the years, I've come to be okay with that. But yeah, it's definitely not fun at times, that's for sure. overall I've kind of come to the place where I'm more and more okay with the fact that not only do I not know everything, it's about myself, which I'm also still working on with a therapist. I'm doing a lot better. I've also come to a place where I feel a lot more comfortable not needing to know everything. My viewpoint on the whole thing overall is that sexuality and gender is really quite fluid. And as a result, I don't feel like I have to know everything. And I feel like that's one of the nuances that is lost more often than not now. I feel like a lot of people feel like they have to know everything because then they get grilled by the community. And that just shouldn't be happening, especially with kids. I'm an adult in my 30s, and I still struggle with these concepts because of religious trauma, which again, I'm working on with therapy, so I'm going to be okay. But like, I think we need to remember how fluid everything is and be way more gentle with people who don't know everything. Most people aren't going to know, and that's 1000% okay. You don't have to understand every single facet of yourself right here, right now in order to be part of the community, I don't think. Although at the same time, as someone who is a ghost in the community, I feel like you don't have to be part of the community either, especially if that community makes you feel unsafe for whatever reason. I understand now as an older person that what had happened to me was just an unfortunate series of events, and that the group as a whole is not like that. Things have gotten a lot better over the years. But if you ever feel like you don't fit anywhere, including the group that you're supposed to feel a part of, I just want you to know that that's totally okay. Sometimes we just don't fit in certain places we expect it to fit, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a mess of thoughts, but that's kind of where I am. And I hope this was helpful. I still like the theme, even though it was lots of mess ups. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely June.